Good morning. Welcome to Gospel Bytes, where we take a bite at the gospel for the day. Today is Sunday, March 2. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. This is taken from Luke chapter 6, verses 39 to 42. Jesus told his disciples a parable. Can the blind person guide a blind person? Will not both fall into a pit? No disciple is superior to the teacher, but when fully trained, every disciple will be like his teacher. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the wooden beam in your own? How can you say to your brother, "Brother, let me remove that splinter in your eye," when you do not even notice the wooden beam in your own? You hypocrites! Remove the wooden beam from your own eye first, then you will see clearly to remove the splinter in your brother's eye. A good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For people do not pick figs from thorn bushes, nor do they gather grapes from brambles. A good person out of the store of goodness in his heart produces good, but an evil person out of a store of evil produces evil. For from the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, so Jesus said, "Do not judge." One of the common phrases that people have quoted Pope Francis was, "Who am I to judge?" This is taken from James chapter 4. There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and to destroy. But you, who are you who judge your neighbor? Okay. What do people mean when they say judge? The word, for some people, they think that it is a condemnation. When you say, "I'm a bad person," they claim that when we judge an act as sinful, we are judging the person as bad or evil. That's what people think, that when the Pharisees, they thought the sinner and the sin are one and the same. So to get rid of the sin, you have to get rid of the sinner. That's why they didn't talk to Samaritans and to the Galileans. No. On the other hand, the people who say, "Well, if you cannot accept my lifestyle, my sin, then you don't accept me. So you have to accept my sin, my lifestyle, if you really love me, if you want to accept me." So again, the sinner and the sin are the one and the same. No different from the Pharisees. For them, you either accept me with my sin or you reject me with my sin. Jesus is saying you are not your sin. Huh? You may be the greatest, you may have committed many sins, but in the eyes of God, He still loves you. And we have to separate those two. When you have a thief, that means you can judge that this person has stolen. That's evil. He has done something bad. But we cannot judge that the person is evil, because he could still be a good father, a good son, good brother, or a man who has committed adultery. Adultery is wrong, it is sinful, it is a sin, but it doesn't judge the person, because the person could still be a generous donor of charity, or he could be a good father. So the judgment is not on the person, but on the act. And we do not judge the goodness of the person. Yeah? The fact that we are all sinners doesn't mean that we leave each other to our own sins. If you're an alcoholic father, you have to warn your son before he falls into the same vice. You cannot say, "Well, who am I to judge?" That's very evil, to let people that you care about fall into sin simply because you say, "Well, I don't want to hurt their feelings. So I don't want to get involved in this hate speech. No. But judgment is actually a commandment of Jesus. It is when we rebuke people. The book of Ezekiel says, Son of man, I have appointed you as a watchman to the house of Israel. Wherever you hear the word from my mouth, warn them from me. When I say to the wicked, you shall surely die, and you do not warn him or speak out to warn the wicked from his wicked way, that he may live, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at your hand. Yet if you have warned the wicked, and he does not turn from his wickedness or from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered yourself. As Ezekiel 3:17 to 19. So when we think that we mind our own business, if that we think is charitable, no. We do not let people fall into a cliff when we know the bridge is out and people are going that way. We need to warn them. No judgment as to whether or not they're bad people, but they're just going to perdition. That is our role. Zechariah 8:16 says, These are the things which you should do. Speak the truth to one another, judge with truth and judgment for peace in your gates. Leviticus 19:17, You shall not hate your brother in your heart, rather you shall rebuke your neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So notice, according to Monsignor Pope, he said he equates the failure to correct the sinner with hate. It's like, I hate you so much. I'm not going to tell you if you're going to fall off the bridge. That's good for you. You'll suffer. I'll just mind my own business. Matthew 18:15 says, If your brother sins, go and point out his fault just between the two of you. If he listens to you, you have won him over. So there is a command for us to warn, even to rebuke when people are sinning. Yeah? The devil wants us to identify with our sin. It's as if we're no different from our sin. And some people say, well, God is a merciful God. He will not let anyone go to hell. That one you can read in Sirach 5:6 to 9. It says, Do not say, Great is his mercy. My many sins he will forgive. For mercy and anger alike are with him. Upon the wicked alights his wrath. Do not delay your conversion to the Lord. Do not put it off from day to day. For suddenly his wrath flames forth. At the time of vengeance, you will be destroyed. Sirach 5:6 to 9, verses 6 to 9. So Jesus is saying, you're not your sin, and but do not condemn. Do not treat people as if they are their sins. That is what condemnation is. And part of that condemnation is to leave them in their sin. So do not be afraid. If you really care about people, if you really love your enemies, then speak up. Lead them to Jesus. I'm Father Jerry Sembrano for another edition of Gospel Bytes. God bless you. Have a nice day.